y'all. Yep, we're doing this again, but rest assured, Winx content from now on will be a lot more varied in topics. But for right now, let's finish off casting the golden age of the show, because look, this is fun for me, okay? I'm trying to take whatever joy I can get in the year of our Lord 2020. Now, before we begin, I want to address an error I made, pointed out by Winx Club Dissected. It's important to me that voice actors match their characters' backgrounds, but I completely missed Naboo being coded as Indian. As such, casting a black actor for him was a mistake, and I would just like to apologize for that. So now, in my grande délision, I don't know French. Is that even French? It's okay to make fun of the French. Naboo would be voiced by Sendil Ramamurthy. Oh god, I hope I'm pronouncing that. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this. Name will be up here. Who plays Dr. Ramsey Rosso on The Flash, a show which I have never seen, but I'd never stop hearing about for some reason. Is it good? Tell me if it's good in the comments. But I very much love Sendil's casual voice, and Naboo's incredibly laid back and mature, so I think this would make a great fit.
Because I didn't approach him as a villain. You know, I don't think that, you know, anybody thinks that they're bad. They think that what they're doing is good.
Now on to the new characters of Season 4, let's begin with the people of Gardenia. Roxy's our big main new character, and Loki the 7th Winx, don't at me. So her voice is the key thing to get right. And for her, I cast Sarah Nicole Roble, who Owl House fans might recognize as Luz Noceva.
It's one thing to say I can't be a witch, but it's another thing to bully my friends.
Luz is an upbeat, friendly girl who's always ready to stand up for her friends. Sarah's performance carries both a sweetness and sassiness that would work perfectly for Roxy, as she struggles with becoming a fairy, and sometimes calls out the Winx for not taking her feelings into account, or them just not knowing how Earth people work. And for her father Klaus, yes, we're keeping his original name, damn it, we're going with Taliesin Jaff, aka Eisen from Tales of Berseria.
To the contrary, as the people gained prosperity, the perfumes became a popular display of wealth.
From what I remember, Klaus is a loving father, though he can be pretty stubborn at times, especially when it comes to running the fruity music bar. So who better to voice him than the leader of an anime pirate crew? Now moving on to Roxy's Dago Artu, and yes, we're keeping the Italian name. There shall be no Arthurs in this house. And for whenever Artu speaks, let's go with Adam Wiley, aka Matthew from Witch.
No idea what you just said. But speaking of the Guardians, I want to be part of this whole thing. Fight alongside them.
Funnily enough, Adam also voices Tritanus in Season 5, but I think his friendly voice is way more suited to R2. Next up, we've got Andy and his friends. Andy's actually a pretty chill guy as Bloom's ex that she rekindles a friendship with, and I think David Faustino's voice as Mako would really suit Andy's character.
I want you to know, I'll follow you into battle no matter how crazy things get. I've got your back. And I always will.
Then for Mark, we've got Lucian Dodge, aka Motoki and Zoisite from the Viz dub of Sailor Moon.
Oh, hey there, Usagi. Sorry, I didn't see you come in. I'm all done with my shift. Do you feel like grabbing some coffee?
And for Rio, Adam MacArthur, aka Marco from Star vs. the Forces of Evil.
Right. I guess what I mean is this seems a little random. Shouldn't we help out with the evacuation?
Now for Jason Queen, we're going with Crispin Freeman because even though the way Jason is animated constantly disturbs me, Crispin's smooth voice would really help sell the fact Musa falls for him so quickly.
I certainly can't imagine you two ever being unhappy in each other's company.
You know, aside from Revan just being awful and Musa being awful at communication, but you know. Then we've got Mitzi's dumb friends Sally and Dharma, and for them I figured some more Sailor Moon cameos would be fun, with Stephanie Sheh, aka Usagi, as Sally.
Don't worry, I'll think of something. Just let me handle this, okay? Naru's in good hands.
And Cricket Brown, aka Vilui, as Dharma.
Oh, don't get so darn high and mighty, Miss Genius. I knew who you were, and you're no match for me!
And though these two aren't from Gardenia, Alice and Clarice are pretty important in the first episode. And so for them, I decided on Haven Pascal, aka Bloom's Duard voice for the super sweet, sincere Alice.
Headmistress, it can't be a coincidence that Kalshara is flying away after reading your book. And during all this.
And Karina Bulger, aka Sailor Tinyanko, as the arrogant Clarice.
All this time I thought you and I could become good friends, but I guess not.
Moving on to the Black Circle, Cineloom fans will probably be pleased that at long last, we have reprising roles from that dub, namely Terrence Scammell as Ogron and Simon Peacock as Dumon. I really dig the accents these characters have, and Simon really suits how sleazy Dumont can be.
We've heard so much about you. It's like we've known you forever.
Terrence, meanwhile, is just the perfect Ogron. Yuri Lowenthal was fine in the Nick dub, but Terrence is the real deal, perfectly nailing how charming and amicable Ogron attempts to be.
It's time we offered the Queen of the Terrestrial Fairies the sign of our surrender, the Black Circle.
And how quickly he can fly off the handle when cornered.
The Wizards of the Black Circle don't know what repentance is! You'll realize this when you spend eternity in the abyss!
Oh, he's scary, yet so charming. As for Gantlos, I went for Liam O'Brien, aka Nephrite.
Ridiculous. I will acquire the silver crystal and I'll rub it in your face.
Like Terrence, Liam is able to balance between smooth and furious performances, though I think it would be an interesting departure for him since Gantlos tends to be more angry most of the time. And lastly, for Anakin, I went with Phil Lamar, aka Jon Stewart, the Green Lantern from the old Justice League animated series.
They talked about the characters like, well, you know, he was a Marine, he was from Detroit, and I'm like, oh, well, my dad's from Detroit. So I added a little bit of a level, sort of an homage to my dad, because
Phil's usual laid-back tone would really suit Anakin as the most chill member of the Fairy Hunters. And again, making sure voice actors' backgrounds fit their characters is really important. Plus, Phil's a voice acting legend. How can I not? And for our last group of characters, we have the Terrestrial Fairies. And for Queen Morgana, we've got Susan Eisenberg, aka Wonder Woman, also from Justice League.
There's trouble on Themyscira. Mystical trouble. Your mace disrupts magic.
The show is just filled with amazing actors, oh my god. Thank you, Andrea Romano. She was the casting director and voice director for that show. She's the best. With a stern, motherly voice, Susan could portray Morgana's cold, authoritative tone, while also being able to invoke her maternal nature as well. Then for Nebula, we've got another Justice League veteran in the form of Maria Canals Barrera.
I'm not Hawk Girl. That was always a sham. Most people on Earth will never trust me again, and I can't blame them.
Nebula's incredibly passionate, and during her story in Season 5 is driven primarily by anger and hatred, and I think Maria's voice as Hawk Girl could fit that perfectly. Not to mention, you get the old Wonder Woman Hawk Girl dynamic as an extra Easter egg. God bless.
You're doing this because you want to prove yourself to me, aren't you? Well, you don't have to. I forgave you a long time ago.
Did I ever ask you for your forgiveness?
Then we've got Diana, the Major Fairy of Nature. And again, since representation matters, I went with Zoe Saldana, who voices Maria in the Book of Life movie, a movie that I have not seen in years. But like all the interviews I've seen Zoe in make me feel her voice could really fit Diana.
The 80s were not really known as a decade for fashion, and my grandmother was so into fashion, and she would make us these like huge and awful outfits.
Can be super chill, but will also murder you if you hurt nature. Next up, Aurora, the Major Fairy of the North, now portrayed by Erica Mendez.
And the people of the Outlands refuse to obey the Abbey's rules. It's a heartless decision, I know, but it follows from the Abbey's perfect logic and principle.
Now, again, I'm not a big fan of repeating voices, but I think Erica's normal voice could really suit Aurora as the seemingly youngest of the Major Fairies. At least that's the vibe I always got. I don't know if that was actually confirmed. I have to double check. And would be different enough from her voice as Laquette to stand out. Plus, like, Aurora has, like, what, 2 episodes of speaking? Like, As for Sibylla, the Major Fairy of Justice, I went with Carrie Karanen, aka Lila from Tales of Zestiria.
The answers you seek are those you must discover for yourself, Saray. Answers of your own that you will not regret.
Sibylla is very measured and kind, though keeps herself at a distance, largely because of her role as the Fairy of Justice, since, can't interfere with destiny and all that stuff. As such, I feel Carrie could nail the balance between compassion and ethereal coldness that makes Sibylla who she is. And finally, the Ethereal Fairies, all voiced by Jen Taylor.
Man, born from dust, was strong, wise, and resourceful. But he was born into an unforgiving world.
Like, let's be real, Jen's voice is super calm and clear, and we know that she can pull off super scary roles like Salem. I like to imagine each ethereal fairy would have her own way of speaking so that, Jen has room to experiment with her performances, and to scale up the drama around the Gifts of Destiny as the season progresses. So with all of that, we're done. I was gonna do the same for the later seasons, but I honestly would rather do other types of Winx content going forward. Maybe one day, but I hope you all enjoyed this for now. These videos have been really chill to produce. It's been really helping me manage stress, quite honestly. After this, I'll try to be doing a few ranking videos for Winx Club here and there, like ranking the finales, villains, and so on. I want to make sure you guys enjoy it and that it's good content for you, but I also don't drive myself insane making it, and that I really, am passionate about making it. I never want it to feel obligatory, which I feel like some of the casting videos have come across. I mean, I enjoyed them, but I feel like at a certain point, it's like, we want to see something else, fam. And you will see other stuff. Yes. Anyway, if you enjoyed this and would like to see more content from me, then be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell for notifications because YouTube hates creators. And also, please consider, if you are willing and able to, pledging your support over on Patreon, especially since the private Union of War Discord server is now available to all patrons, including those who pledge just $1 a month. Any support you show is infinitely appreciated. I'm the Unicorn of War, and I'm still working on a 2020 catchphrase to get away from the self-deprecating shit show, but